We often think of prophets as these bold, fearless figures who burst onto the scene with confidence. But the text we are looking at today introduces us to someone who really, really didn't want the job.
That is the perfect way to frame it. We are diving into the opening of the book of Jeremiah, and you're right, he isn't volunteering. In fact, when the call comes, his immediate reaction is basically, "You've got the wrong guy, I'm just a kid."
I am a child. That is the exact phrase, right? It's so human. But the response he gets is fascinating. It's not a pep talk about his skills, it's a statement about his origin.
Exactly. This is where we get that famous line, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." It shifts the burden off Jeremiah. God is essentially saying, "Your qualifications don't matter because I designed you specifically for this." But it's not going to be an easy gig. He's appointed to uproot and tear down, but also to build and plant.
That sounds incredibly destructive before it gets constructive, and then almost immediately the text moves into these strange visions. I mean, an almond branch? A boiling pot? What is going on there?
It is vivid, isn't it? The almond branch is a bit of wordplay in the original Hebrew. The word for almond sounds like the word for watching. The point is that God is watching over his word to perform it. He's active. But the second image, the boiling cauldron tipping from the north, that is the terrifying part.
That represents the invasion, right?
Yes. In the ancient Near East, the north was often synonymous with the route invaders took. It's a warning that disaster is about to spill over onto Judah because they've abandoned their covenant.
And that leads us into chapter 2, which feels like a courtroom drama. The indictment here is heavy, but the imagery, it's not just legal language, it's emotional. There's this metaphor about water that really stood out to me.
Oh, the broken cisterns. That is one of the most powerful metaphors in the entire Old Testament. God says the people have committed two evils. First, they forsook him, the spring of living waters. And second, they dug their own cisterns, broken ones that can't even hold water.
It's such a tragic picture. You have a fresh, flowing mountain spring right there, and instead you choose to dig a hole in the ground that leaks muddy water. Why do you think that imagery is used?
It highlights the sheer stupidity of idolatry. It's not just that they are breaking a rule, it's that they are making a bad trade. They are exchanging glory for something useless. The text describes them chasing after other gods like a wild donkey in heat. It's raw, almost offensive language.
It really is. It paints them as desperate, running to Egypt and Assyria for help, drinking from their rivers instead of trusting God. It's political alliances masked as spiritual safety.
Precisely. And that brings us to the core issue in chapter 3. It stops being just about bad politics and becomes about a broken marriage. The text asks, if a wife leaves her husband and becomes another man's, can she return? By the law of the land, the answer is no. The land would be polluted.
But that's where the twist comes in, doesn't it? Because God doesn't follow the expected script here.
He flips the script entirely. He looks at Israel and Judah, who are described as treacherous sisters playing the prostitute, and he says, "Return to me." It defies legal logic. It's an invitation based purely on mercy, not on their merit. He even says, "I am a husband to you."
That is shocking when you consider the context of their betrayal. And he promises something for the future too. Leaders who are actually good.
Yes, shepherds according to my heart. That is the hope amidst the judgment. Jeremiah is predicting that one day the restoration will be so complete that people won't even miss the Ark of the Covenant anymore, because God's presence will be everywhere.
So, we start with a terrified young man looking at a boiling pot of judgment, and we end with a plea for a cheating spouse to come home. It's a roller coaster.
It is. And it sets the stage for the rest of the book. The judgment is real, the pot is boiling, but the heart of God is always leaning toward return. He's tearing down the fake security so he can plant something real.
A painful process, but a necessary one. It makes you wonder what broken cisterns we are still digging today, trying to find satisfaction in things that just leak.
That is the question to walk away with. Are we drinking from the living spring, or are we just swallowing mud?
A haunting question. Thanks for breaking this down with me.
My pleasure. If you have been blessed by this, please like, subscribe, and share this joy with others. God bless.